is Tia, and I'm one of the founders of the L'Herbanyste, which is a vegan and vegetarian restaurant, completed with an Eastern holistic facial room and a photo studio.
I'm Adrian, so I am the husband of Tia, and I've been in Vietnam for a while now, like more than 20 years, and I've done a lot of things. I'm still doing a lot of things, and particularly now I have a new project which is about bees and about how to help a bit the planet saving the pollinator.
Here we are at L'Herbanyste, and we are with some very interesting people, the owners of the restaurant, and they've just ordered a very nice coffee, as you can see. It's a beautiful place. We're sitting outside here today. The weather is cooperating, and everybody's in a great mood.
I think that the image cannot make justice to what it is actually to be sitting down here. So thank you so much, guys, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
This is a very special episode. I think it's going to be exciting for everybody who's going to be watching. For us, very unexpected as well. I'll see what was unexpected, the experience we had with you guys previously.
The last time, yeah.
So if you want to just make a quick introduction.
So we've got Andre here.
Adrian, yeah?
Adrian?
Yes.
Adrian, sorry.
Yes.
Tia over here. And we've got Jay and Seb. Oh, sorry. Wait a second. It's Seb. No. Seb and Jay. Okay. Got it straight. Okay, now that we know who everyone is, let's chat a little bit. So, we are at this beautiful restaurant in Dinh, Saigon, and this is in District 2. This is a vegan, vegetarian restaurant. It's not a very old restaurant. When did you guys start this?
You know what? It was actually a very quick decision. So until now, we've been for 1 year and just a bit over 2 months.
Okay.
So basically, as you know, with L'Herbanyste, it was me, Adrian, and then we also have Georgiana and Karina. And in fact, it happened very quick. So we came back from Hanoi after our wedding last year. And then that was February and March. And then I just sort of gave a call to Georgiana because, you know, we had some ideas to project before. And then, because we found this place and I call her up and then we look at the place, and I think between March and May and within 2 months, we just got it opened. So it was not like a brewing plan, right? It was just sort of very spontaneous.
Wow. And what urged you to have a vegan vegetarian restaurant?
I think, in fact, I think now with everyone, and with everything that's happening in the world, I think we can all agree that we can reduce meat consumption.
Absolutely.
And I think there's definitely a trend for eating cleaner. And I think we see that with all the diseases. I don't want to get too much into it, but people want to be cleaner in their environment as well as what they put into their body. So you don't have to be a strictly vegetarian or vegan, but I think definitely there's that element that people want to incorporate more into their lives. So I think we want to capture that, and it's a lifestyle as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that she says that it was like a spontaneous project, but it feels like you guys been working on this for a very long time. In the project, it feels like there's so much love and like care, and so that's actually surprising. I thought it was already something you guys been planning for a long time, but if you're saying that it happened like that, and since you opened it, what has been the experience?
I think it's been very overwhelming, but also it was just very easy as well. I think we were very lucky to have received a lot of love from the community and the people around, because I think when you go to Saigon now, I think it's got amazing restaurants. When you go to D1, Tao Dien, it's got amazing restaurants. But I think we would like to think that still till now we're the only one that gives this kind of experience of like your living room. So you see, we're deep in an alley, we're in a compound, so we're not really on the main street. It's not the easiest to find, and we don't have any big signs outside. So I think people really enjoy that. So people come here, it's like we become friends. Like yourselves come here, and we know everyone's stories and their families, and
It's
sometimes
very home-like.
Exactly.
It's
So
very
we want to
cozy.
give that sort of living room friendship kind of environment, not like a pretentious restaurant or space, and I think we want to kind of convey that to the staff and also to our customers.
I think you guys have done a great job with that.
Oh, thank you. It was a group effort. It was a group effort. Yeah.
And that's actually what I wanted to ask. It's a group effort. So I would love to know how's been your support, how's been your experience seeing you guys are engaged?
No, they got married
We're
last year.
married.
You're
We're married.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah,
didn't
we're
know.
married.
You didn't invite me to the wedding. So I don't know. Where's my invitation, by the way?
We can do a second one.
second one.
Especially for you.
Yeah,
yes,
just for you.
us.
Just
Just me and
invite
Jay.
three of you guys.
I think
Yeah.
two of you guys.
Let me
I
pen
have
in the
little-
date.
Yes,
You know,
I like
like
that.
the wedding dress. You know, we're gonna get the tuxedo, and you know, just
Actually, it was very spontaneous as well. We meet 3 months later we married.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
an
we
interesting
decided,
story.
yeah.
and actually we
How did
did
you
the
guys-
wedding way after.
Okay.
So in fact, I'm from Hanoi. So in fact, I moved to Saigon because I got bored of Hanoi. I got a job offer in Saigon, and I was working for the project of Milian Ho Cham. And then so I needed a place to stay. And things happened fast, and I met Adrian. And I know it sounds super cliche, but it's like this: when you know, you know. And for us, it happened like 3 months later, and we decided to get married. But we didn't do the wedding, so we did all the registration first,
Yeah.
and find when we could be bothered to actually do the wedding planning. We did it last year, but we've
Yeah.
been married for almost 3 years now.
You know,
Yeah.
so many people say, I know it sounds cliche, and I always say it is cliche for a reason. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It-
that's true.
it is how it is. And that feeling, I guess maybe it happened exactly how you felt with him when you guys saw this place, the restaurant.
It's like an
Yeah.
alignment. You feel a total sense of alignment with someone or with a restaurant or
Always
a
a place.
venture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But when you know, is just you don't question. When you begin to question yourself about something, it means that there is something wrong.
Doubt. Yeah.
There is a doubt, and in fact, we should always follow our gut feeling, like what we feel
Yeah.
inside our heart.
Yeah.
And I think with experience and getting older, when you know, you know, and that's an advantage of getting older,
Yeah.
of the old age,
Yeah.
because then
Yeah.
after you can really, where are your priority, and you know what really give you a reason to live, and a purpose to live, and then you feel it. You cannot explain
Yeah.
these kind of things.
And I think when you feel it, everything somehow the universe just conspires, and it just brings every
Yeah.
people and everyone to your favor.
All the
Because
pieces
even when we
fit into
found this
place.
place,
Yeah.
it was fast, and then we found Greenie, which is also the lovely plants landscape, and then we have the studio, and like everything's just
They come into
somehow
place, yeah.
falls into place, and we did not expect it. You know what I mean? And it was just like open mind, and then it just sort of lays right in our lap. So we're quite lucky in that sense.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful concept because actually that's exactly how this.
And I mean, we're not a couple or
partnership-
anything.
We're not a
but
couple.
Are you sure?
It's,
No, but Danny. Danny.
I don't know.
Behind the camera.
Yeah, behind the
now,
camera.
there's something going on. But we're not a couple in that romantic sense.
Okay.
But we do co-create in business, and it was exactly the same. We met, we saw each other, and it was just the flow. When it's effortless, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Like that's
Mhm.
how I really
Yeah,
feel.
exactly. Yeah.
It's just the flow. It keeps a momentum, and when there's no one like creating resistance, as you said, the universe makes everything. So
Flow with you.
it just comes and blossoms. The idea.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that you guys actually resonated on the spot, and exactly happened the same with the restaurant.
Mhm.
And I think it's a lesson for everyone because I feel like we've been programmed to always question everything with our heads, but we never been programmed to question things with our heart. And I think that there's a completely different result when you question it with your head and when you question it with your heart.
Actually, I feel that when it's the heart, you don't even question it. There is no. It's just
it feels right.
yeah. It feels
Yes.
right.
Yes.
And in fact, I think there is in our life there is many time when it feels right, but we choose not to listen. And in fact, we often do something that where we have a doubt, but I don't know why we do it anyway. We are not listening to ourselves enough. And this is a question I always ask myself: why? Why? And we
I think
should-
it goes back to what Seb was saying. It's like we're programmed to
Yeah.
kind of listen to the head, and what society tells us is what we're supposed to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so that's always conflicting with what we feel we want to do. Sometimes your feelings can lead you in the wrong direction if you're too young.
Yeah.
You
True.
fall in love with
Yeah,
your
yeah.
first girlfriend or something. You want to marry her. You're 15. Maybe you're too young to start following your heart at that point. But with age, as you said, comes experience, and then you know what feels right and what is right,
Mhm.
and you listen. They say that intuition kind of takes into account not just what you're thinking, but a lot more information than that. You take cues from people about their body language, about the way they look at you, this and that, whereas your brain only thinks about okay, so the guy said this and this, so it's a very narrow perspective. But when you um, use your intuition, it's kind of like you take in a lot more information that we are not even really aware of. And it just kind of helps to lead you in the right direction. But I think you do have to have a little bit of experience.
Yeah, because I think like there's two things, and I always tell Adrian, we always have this conversation, is there's two things I think that's always stops you from being happy or going for the right person, the right job, is fear and ego. You know what I mean? Like people are
Yes.
fearing of rejection. So they say, okay, although I'm not happy, but I'm so afraid of being rejected in the next person, or I'm going to be alone, so I stay.
Settle.
Or it's my ego that it's like, oh, I cannot be the first one to say or to admit to myself that maybe I was wrong, or you know what I mean? So I think these things all comes up, and I think when you get older, like Adrian said, is that you just more honest with
Like
yourself.
I'm 65. I'm not that old yet.
No, but for me, but for me, like I think I'm someone that, you know, and that I'm very honest and I'm very straightforward. But I understand that not everyone is ready to hear what the truth is. And we have a saying in Vietnam, it's like, thuốc đắng dã. That's meaning like bitter medicine works, but the truth also hurts. You know what I mean? So
Truth hurts.
it's not everyone is ready for that kind of news.
In the West, they say, "You can't handle the truth."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
From the movie.
And that's the thing, and yeah. So this, I think sometimes people don't want to hear it. So
Yeah.
There is old philosopher, I think it was Cicerone, and then after it was taken back by Montaigne. And this is a sentence that I always take for myself: is learn how to live, is learn how to die. And for me, it's the whole meaning of life. We are learning how to live, to also approach our death and understanding and learning how to accept it. And I really like this sentence. Yeah.
Actually, it's very similar to Buddhist philosophy. When you realize that your death is a thing that is actually coming for you, sickness, old age, death, all of those things, you learn to appreciate every day much more.
yeah.
You know?
And I think you choose to also live your life in a way that you can look back or you can look forward, and you know that if something happens, you always have good people around you, and you manage to do your little footprint, you know, that positive footprint on life and on the earth as well. Yeah.
And there's something that I've always been fascinated about, and it's the whole concept of letting go and surrender. And it's been one of probably like the most challenging journeys for me. I come from a programming family where we are stubborn. They don't want to listen. And I was brought up like that. I tried to say something to one of my uncles when I was younger. They don't listen. I tried to say something sometimes to my dad. I can see in his face that he didn't listen to me, many things. And for me, there was a point in my life where I had to question my belief system and my approach to life. And for me, like one of the key elements was always this whole concept of surrender. Surrender to the things that you cannot change.
Yeah.
Because you cannot change
You
them.
cannot control.
Yeah.
So if you don't surrender, what other choice you have? If you cannot control them anyway, it can only hurt you. It can only create resistance within you, and it can only actually take you backwards.
Yeah.
Just because you cannot change it. And that concept is actually beautiful what you live for. And I think that if you encapsulate it, it's really just the concept of surrendering to life, to the what isness of everything. And you can either look back or you can either look forward.
Yeah.
And I think that when you come to L'Herbanyste, and as well when you go to next door that we will take you guys very soon, you get to see the concept of the acceptance and looking forward. And I think that that's the one thing that we kind of all appreciate when we come and see this beauty. This is looking forward. This is connecting with nature. This is connecting with the things that are the most important things. And that's kind of like dying to the old self, that we need meat, for example, to survive, but we don't really understand how much harm are we doing to the planet. Can you surrender to the idea that there's a new way, and it can only comes by looking forward?
Yeah.
So I think that this place is all about looking forward and surrendering.
No, I agree, and I think that if everyone thinks from starting from their family, the little things that they can do for themselves, you know, and like you said, I always say, like, if you are mad about things that you cannot change about, you're just mad for no reason, right? You're just getting old and ugly and for no reason.
Why are you looking at me when you say old?
Old and ugly. Why did you say?
No, it's been like the second time.
No, but
I
like,
don't know.
I'm being polite. I'm like
No,
talking
every
to
time,
everyone.
Every time old or something, you're looking at, and now he was even more. He was ugly, you know.
Yeah. you
No, I
add
mean,
ugly
it's a
to that.
figure
Gonna be a third
speech.
world. He's gonna be like old, ugly, slow, and then she's pretty much trying to tell
Everybody
you
notice it, yeah.
And bald. And hair.
Okay, hey, come on,
No.
all this beautiful.
Hey, I did say they did say that men that has no hair has more testosterone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm losing mine.
I heard that. Yeah.
Everyone's gonna go
Oh,
shave
no.
all their hair off. No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Actually, let's shift the focus to you a little bit because I want to ask you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're French,
I'm French, yeah.
and tell us when you came here. Why did you come here?
Oh, so I arrived here 22 years ago.
2 years ago.
No,
okay.
22 years ago.
22
I arrived
Wow.
in Vietnam in 1998.
Very
So
early.
yeah, very early. I was
Yeah.
very young.
I think that day I was born.
Yeah, are you born? No,
I was born 95.
95.
So
Okay.
4 years after
Yeah, I
you.
was 4 years
So
old.
in fact, I was working. I left school. I was 16 in France, and I was working. I've come from an artist family, and but also a very strict family from my father's side, and very good education. Everything was. But at some point, I wanted to go on my own, so I left. And I did like many kind of job in France, and then one day I saw a beautiful picture with 2 coconut tree, blue sea, and it was very dreamy. I was like 17, and I decided to let's go inside this agency. And where is that? Oh, it's Thailand. I never think about going to Asia before, and I want to go there. So next day I came back with a little money I have. I buy a one-way ticket to Bangkok, and I had no idea about Asia. I didn't know. I never think about it. And so, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, I was in Bangkok, and I started like that
By yourself.
by myself.
Okay, so you're doing like the backpacking thing.
Backpack, but in 1998, so it was
you were
different.
young, right? You were like 17.
I was 98, 79, yeah, 18.
Okay.
1919, yeah.
Yeah,
So a
18,
young
19.
backpacker exploring the world.
Exploring the world, and then
You're in
I
Bangkok.
Bangkok. Then I went to. I was with fishermen, and I live inside the temple. I live in the island. I live with fishermen. So I was doing like really the local things. I'm going to make it quick. Then after I moved to Cambodia, by the road. In Cambodia, I engaged myself into boat in the Mekong, and I was carrying rice on boat between Phnom Penh and the Laos border, and I was going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Then after I arrived in Vietnam, and in Vietnam, so I was in Saigon, and I was hanging out with some cyclo drivers, things like that, and I found an old Russian motorbike, and I went to Hanoi by motorbike. But I stopped in the middle, in the center of Vietnam, and I was picking up cherry coffee from the trees. And always, during all this experience, I always walk, but in exchange, I always have food and a roof. So all these people, Thai people, Cambodian people, Vietnamese people, they always like give me somewhere to live, to eat, and I was working with them, and it was amazing. And then afterwards, there is so many stories. I arrived in Hanoi, and then also there, I was a manager of a restaurant, of club, of things like that. I was improvising. I had no idea about it, but I was saying that
Fake it till you make it.
You guys are really good at improvising.
Improvising. So and then after I come back to Saigon, and in Saigon I had the first things I do. So first I was a Xeon driver. So I was
Grab driver.
Xeon driver.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
really?
I
But
was-
like the traditional one, without all the apps, you know, that you just kind of like park up at the corner and then
You
they'll be
wait
like,
there, you lie on your stuff like this.
You
right?
have a hammock and you connect it with like the
tree.
Yes, that's amazing.
I was living on the roof actually at that time. I have no hammock, and then I was taking foreigner because I knew Saigon very well. Going by motorbikes, they pay me like $10 a day, $15 a day, and I can make some money and things. Then after, at that time they were destroying all the colonial house. Now there is some left, but at some point they were really destroying a lot of them. And there was these beautiful ceramic tiles from Indochina times, from French house.
Yeah.
So I contacted some people that are in construction in France, and I began to export container of Indochina tiles for them to build house in France. So now in south of France you have many houses built, and all their
from that material? Wow.
how you say, the ground, the floor, all the floor, it's from Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah, but from the 30s, 40s, you know,
Yeah,
from
it's
Indonesia.
an interesting story for them, right?
It's a super, yeah, they say, oh, you know, this is from Vietnam, it was built by the French 80 years ago.
That's kind of like what the whole concept of you can look back or you can look forward. And you were just looking forward, those tiles to the floor. You're like, somebody's gonna take these in France and make something with it that they're not doing here.
Yeah, and here they would have maybe, I don't know what to do with it. And so, yeah, so it was one part of the, and then after I have a restaurant, another restaurant, a fashion shop. But fashion shop, it was too early. I decided to open something. I wanted to be like a Mango, Zara, but this was like 16, 17 years ago. But ego, she was speaking about ego. My ego was there, like, I want to be in front, I want to do this look, I'm into fashion, bullshit. Yeah. I had no idea, I knew nothing, I lost a lot of money.
And you know no fashion.
So you've been here for a long time, and now, I mean, it took you a long time, but you speak French, you speak Vietnamese?
I speak Vietnamese. Yeah.
Anything else?
English.
English?
Yeah.
Okay.
French.
Good.
But yeah, French, English, and Vietnamese.
Me language.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what about you? How many languages? English?
Well, the thing is,
Vietnamese?
I did speak Swedish
Wow.
because I grew up in a diplomatic family. So in fact, he's been in Vietnam probably much longer than I have put together because I was actually born in Russia back when it was still the USSR. And then we moved back, and then we moved to Sweden, and that's where I did like my primary and secondary school. But of course, you know, with time, and I'm getting old as well, so you don't get practice language, so it kind of goes. And then and I moved to London. I was living in London for 7 years, and I moved to Copenhagen. Lived there for a year and a half. Too cold, and that's when I decided to come back here. So like I said, he's probably been in Vietnam longer than I have.
Interesting.
So we got the Vietnamese right here. This is the real Vietnamese in the table right now.
Yeah. He looks can be deceiving.
Believe
He's
it or
more
not,
Vietnamese
he's more
than
Vietnamese
the person who looks
Then-
Vietnamese.
Exactly.
But
But you know, we have this funny joke all the time because when he first met my parents, you know, because he speaks really like the street Southern Vietnamese. So I'm from Hanoi, so obviously we have different accents and stuff. And first when he met my parents, he could not really understand what they were saying, and he was super nervous. And he was just like super focused, like trying to understand. But I mean, now it's okay. But back in the days, it was funny, right?
Yeah, because I speak like really like street.
Like a street boy.
street
Like
boy.
he's a Vietnamese gangster.
Exactly. Yeah.
I used to think I was like I did my adventure and like it was a wild adventure, but hearing your story is so inspiring, especially when nobody back then did what you were doing.
Yeah, but
Where
sorry.
did you got the courage to actually take that leap of faith?
No idea. And that's when you do this kind of things, you don't even think about being brave or courageous or anything. There is just something that carry you. There is an energy behind you, and you do things, and then after, like 15 years, 20 years later, you look back and you say, "I did that." You surprise and no, it's not possible. What did? So when you do this kind of thing, you don't think. Something is carrying you, and it's a power that you cannot explain, you cannot define. There is no
But I think it's also
explanation.
like the survival
Kind of
instinct as well. And I think everyone's survival instinct is very different. You know what I mean? Like, I could not do what he did. Like, if now you throw me, like, okay, so you France to Vietnam, that's like Vietnam going to, I don't know, like, somewhere like really remote,
Very
like
different,
Sierra Leone in Africa, that you don't speak the language, you don't know anyone. Like, it's extremely fearful, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? You think you may not be able to do, but when you're in the situation, you could probably do it.
Bob Marley has a quote that it says, "You don't know how strong you are until being strong is the
only choice you have."
So I do believe you will be able to do it. Maybe not gonna do it, but I believe in you.
I think for the most part, maybe he is more Vietnamese now than he is whatever he was before, right? Because he spent so much time here. So
Yeah.
looks can be really deceiving.
No, but
you
I
know?
completely agree with you on like relationships as well, because I think like when you're with the right people, it's just so easy. You know, you don't have to think
Effortless.
about what you're gonna say, and everything just kind of matches, and it's just in sync. You know,
Yeah.
because like, and I say when you have, you know, past ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends, it doesn't mean they're bad people. It's just that at some point you just grow apart, right? Either you grow together, you grow apart, and maybe they're what they want is not what you want anymore, and vice versa. So I think when you find the right person, everything is just parallel. It's just going upwards, and even when you're in each other's presence, you don't need to say anything, and it's just easy. It's just nice. And
well, that's the thing. I never thought after that first marriage that I would get married again. I was thinking, you know what, maybe it's just marriage doesn't work. You know, the divorce rate's so high in the West. Maybe it's just a sign that this is an outdated social construct and it doesn't really work. But when I came here, I started to meet different people and stuff like that, and I met her, and then it just was like so easy to talk to her, and I never considered her as marriage material or, you know, even romantically or anything. But the more I got to know her, the more I realized we're almost like two sides of the same coin. Like we're very well matched. A lot of the similar interests and humor and all of that, and those things are very important because those are everyday things. Yeah. And so it was so effortless that I felt like this is my match. Like this is, after 2 or 3 years of going out with her, I thought either I have to marry her or I have to leave her alone and let her go on her path and get married or something, because I can't hold her back just because I don't want to get married. And it's been, now we've known each other for about 7 years.
Oh,
and
the lucky number.
Yeah, and I've never, honestly, we've never had a major argument. But with my exes, I mean, it was a part of the relationship. And everybody used to say, oh, don't worry, everybody fights. Yeah, but you might fight over little things, but you shouldn't have huge fights over core beliefs and things like this, you know?
Like I said, I think the core belief and the family values and everything is very important. Like, of course, every day you have like little bickering about, you know, what shoes or who put the shoes here, you know, little things like that, which happens, I think, even when... I'm just saying, like, you know, even from my parents' marriage, like, you know, they're still happily married after like 33 years on, they're still happily married. And of course, like, I see them every day, like the little things every day that I think you can have with friends or your family. But I think who you are, you grow as a family, what you want for each other as a couple, as a family, how to raise your kids, for your job, your working ethics, you know, all these ethical things, I think it has to match. It's like if now one person believes in, you know, I believe in working hard, and one person is more like, oh, I don't want to think about working, I just want to chill. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? And so I think it's very important.
And this is a great way now to take the conversation to the next level. I think everybody's waiting for the next level. And now the next level is this. You guys both are like, you have you're pioneers in something different, right? You have your restaurant, you have many other things going on. And I think that this alchemy that I see within you guys is actually supportive, not only just like in the degree of romantic relationship and as a personal level, but I think that it has a huge impact that both of you have this mindset of looking forward and supporting each other's businesses. So have you guys like connected somehow when you guys are working together, or what is kind of like the dynamic to make it work?
I think for us, it's like I always say, like, you know, we support each other where we can, but not to overstep. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like if now I come to advice, I would tell, just give me advice for where I ask you to. So I think it's very easy to kind of get carried away and start bringing all the other things into it, and then you don't know your partner's level of stress, and when you start, like, you don't know that maybe sometimes, and you shouldn't bring work home anyway, unless you ask, you know what I mean? So if I asked Adrian, I said, oh, I'm doing this, what do you think? And I would say, okay, but just give me your advice on that, and don't go into other things, because this is where you create the stress, and this is where you go into territories that, due to different working personalities, you might clash. And I think the same, it's like I would ask him, and things like that.
So now if she asks my advice, then I will give it. But if she doesn't ask my advice, I will keep it to myself. Sometimes I don't keep it for myself, and I know that I should have keep it for myself. And now after a while, I know I just keep it for myself. But it works. I mean, and when I need you, I ask you, and then you give me your advice.
So it's
and
like for work, we create boundaries.
Yes.
Because I think when you get home, you have so much more that you can enjoy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we have 3 dogs, you know, well, you'll see them later. You have the bees, and you have so many other things. Like, we talk about future plans, bats, monkeys, and, you know, where we can go hiking next. And, you know, we like to look at beautiful things, you know, like pictures. Like, we have our own hobbies, but our hobbies are also
overlap, right?
Yeah.
So it's about the key in what it has worked for you is boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries, but also communication and listening, like really listening to each other. If I ask her a few things and I can feel that this is bothering you, then okay, I will do it one time. If the second time I see that it really bothers me, okay, I will step back and I will stop. So it's really like listening also to each other about, because we are human after all, so we have feelings and we are completely different in many things.
And
so
we continue to grow and to learn about, you know,
Yeah.
'cause I think the human brain is so complex, you know what I mean? Like it can be so many little compartments of things. Like what you react to this issue doesn't mean that you react to the next issue the same. And you learn through like living and talking and communicating, but we always make sure that we are very open in everything. And I always tell him exactly like what is not making me happy regarding things, and he would tell me the same. So
and I will try really when I know that what she doesn't like, I will really try to respect the
It's a funny
space.
thing because sometimes you don't even understand why she feels that way, but you have to respect it. And then maybe after some time you start to, okay, I kind of get the point of view.
Yeah.
Because my wife is like that. Like sometimes she'll have a point of view on something, not something big, but she won't want me to do something, or she wants me to do something. I'm like, I don't understand, but I'm going to do it just so that
yeah.
I don't create some issues here.
Yeah.
And then after a while, like, yeah, okay, I get it. I kind of see that, you know. So sometimes you need to just let go of your own thoughts and ideas and surrender to what the other person is saying, even if you don't agree with it.
Yeah,
You know?
but this is very important in communication, not only in couple, it's in friends, it's in work, everywhere. The fact to let go.
Yeah.
I don't always like want to be right and to be on top of it and to control, and let go yourself, and we feel much happier actually.
Yeah. And I think it's always like you should be able to somehow train yourself to have the positive reaction. When I say the positive reaction, doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be mad. It's just that you can be mad in a tactful way. You know, you don't have to like go crazy and throw things, but you can just be like, you know, I'm not happy about this. You know what I mean? And then gradually, I think you would take it easy with like, you know, and your attitude changes to reacting to anger as well.
Mm-hmm. I have a philosophy from my relationship with my girlfriend, and it has been the thing that it has worked the most. I have tried many things that didn't work, and I was like, okay, letting go this one, and the one that I finally kind of like decided, okay, this is where it's at, is that I always tell her and she tells me back. It's like a mantra, and is whatever happens with me has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
That's really good.
She
Yeah.
is angry, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Even if she's angry about something I did or I said. And like both of us taking that approach as whatever happens with you, I'm not gonna take it personal because it's your own experience, it's your own journey, and it's your own kind of like hero's journey.
Yeah.
So why do I wanna take the responsibility or even like feeling the guilt,
interfere with that, yeah.
interfering when
Yeah.
that's what life is all about.
We keep hearing about bees disappearing.
So there is this concept of everybody is saying save the bees, yes, because almost all the crop in the planet are regenerated by the pollinator, like almond and apple and corn and any kind of fruits. And you know that if we don't have any legume or plants or fruits, then we will somehow all die, let's say. We cannot just rely on animals, and anyway it would be bad to only rely on animals. So there is this concept about save the bees, to save the crop, to save the food that we can all have. But I would say it's not only about save the bees, it's more about save the pollinators, which are as much important as the bees, and the pollinators are part of the full food chain, food web. And if you don't have pollinator, then you don't have plant, then you don't have flower, then you don't have fruits. Then the little animals will not be able to eat the fruits that fall from the trees, and then the bigger animals will not eat the little animals, and then it comes to us, but we cannot live. Yes. So it's more to say about save the pollinator than save the bees. Okay?
Everything is connected.
Everything is connected.
Yes.
Exactly. And so here we are in the heart of Taoding, and the idea was to create a pollinator house for bees or for even other pollinator in the city. So the idea is to also for people to come here, look at all the beehives. So we have beehives here, real alive beehives with all their colony, real ones. Here in this garden, also on the terrace up there, and we invite people to come here to understand more about bees, to educate themselves and see that bees are very nice little fluffy animals. They don't eat, they are not carnivore like wasps or hornets. There is a misconception also between the bees and the wasps, as the wasps eat. It's the one that come to your table when you have some ham or melon or this, and they disturb you, they sting you. Bees not. Bees, they only their purpose of life is to create honey for the colony to survive. Okay. So that's what we invite people to come here to understand more about it, and also to possibly put a beehive in their house. So they could also witness how nature is beautiful and how these insects serve a purpose for the planet, but also at the end for us. So that's what we have tried to create here in this place. Yeah.
So this is for the bees and for us.
It's for the bees and for us, yes. And for the pollinator. In fact, the most important is plant flower. The message is plant as much flower as you can. So then you will have as much pollen as possible, and then the pollen will travel through the pollinator, and then it will help all flowers everywhere to be fertilized, and then to create new flower, strong flower. Yeah. So that's the idea. And then also we are producing honey through that, which is an untouched honey, which will is the same kind of a medicinal honey.
It's a very pure.
It's a very
raw honey. Right?
Raw, pure,
Organic.
untouched. Because when you create honey, there is 3 steps before what the honey are going to eat, during how they are going to build their colony, and then after how you harvest the honey. So from the beginning to the end, the honey, our honey that will come out of it, is the same as what the honey are eating in the beehive. So the honey you're going to eat is the same as what the bees are going to eat.
And I wanted to ask you that question because when you go to the supermarket and people, oh yeah, I want to go organic, go and buy some honey from the supermarket.
Yeah.
What I never understood, and you're the one who gave me the awareness, is that this honey is actually mostly sugar, processed sugar.
Yeah.
Some of them. But there's a difference between the organic honey, as we're going to see it here, and the organic that is kind of traditionally bought in supermarkets.
Yeah, I will not I don't want to say organic, because organic, that means you guarantee that the bees didn't take any pollen from flower without pesticide. Okay?
You can't guarantee that.
I cannot guarantee that. So I don't want to call it organic. I want to call it like 100% raw as it is inside the beehive. Okay, to make it clear. What you get in supermarket, they wrote in it 100% pure raw honey. It's not a lie. It's 100% pure raw honey. The only issue that there is that they sometimes give sugar to the bees.
They feed them sugar.
They feed them sugar to produce more honey. But the problem is if you have sugar inside the beehive, then the bees is not going to go out to find nectar in the flower. She will just stay there, take the sugar, and then the honey that will come out is more like sugar. So you don't have like all the antibacterial, antifungal, propolis, pollen, antioxidant. This is one. But it's still 100% pure raw honey because it's from the beehive. But then also when they harvest it, they will pasteurize it, they will heat it, because when a company sells honey, you need to always keep the same color and the same taste in a supermarket.
Consistent, right?
It has to be consistent. Yeah. Our honey will not be consistent. Our honey, the taste will change over time because it will ferment a bit, because it's really 100% raw and natural. The color will change because we didn't pasteurize it, we didn't heat it. But what you will buy in the supermarket, 70 to 80% of all the nutrient value are gone. So the taste is good, everything, but then you are just eating like a candy. So everything is gone. As our honey, the taste will change, the color will change, but you know, with all the antibacterial that there is inside the honey, you can conserve honey 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It doesn't go bad. So, okay, you will feel something different, but the value, the nutrient value, remain at 80 to 85%. That's the difference.
So to kind of like encapsulate it, it comes from bees, usually the supermarket honey.
Yes.
But what people don't know yet, and this is like the level of awareness that I think is key factor, is that it can come from bees, but if they're feeding it sugar, is like what the bee is producing is actually coming from sugar.
Correct.
So it's a completely different.
It's not very
outcome,
natural, actually.
and it's not.
It's
natural
not very
as well.
natural. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So there is 2 compartments. This is the body of the beehive. It's where the colony will live. It's where the queen will lay the eggs, where the drones and the nurse will live. And then you have the second compartment. It's where they will produce the honey. So we will only take honey from there. We will not take honey from there because this is the honey that belongs to the colony, and you need to keep it for them to eat and survive. Yes. Just to show you that. Attends. So this is a kind of frame. It's natural. No, great. It's naturally built by the bees. So again, we do it from scratch. We are going to give an empty frame inside the beehive. Then they will build it from scratch, and we will take this, we will press it like they were doing it long time ago, and then you will get a fresh, pure honey from a pure new wax. Okay. As others, they will put it on an extractor, they will turn, and they will, by centrifuge force, get the honey out of it, but they will put back the frame inside the beehive. And they can do it 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 10 times. Of course, you will get more honey, the bees will build faster, but then you don't have like the purity as what we have when we take it from scratch. So one beehive, if you do it like a normal way, you can get maybe 40-45 liters a year. Us, we will get much less. Yeah. Do you want me to open it to see, or? Yeah, let's have a look.
So there's a big difference from the honey. The process they use is taking it from scratch, the wax, and the one that usually they just leave it again, and they're just trying to extract as much honey as they can.
Yeah, because when you will press it, first of all, it's a young wax. You also have some nutrient value in wax, and then you will have a bit of propolis still in it, pollen still in it. There is like a lot of things that still there. We will just strain it one time, and then it's pure. Yeah.
What is this?
This is
type, right?
Yeah, it's a 40 years old wood. I don't know the name in English. The name in Vietnamese is go sum or something, okay. But it's very heavy and it's really good for also for outside under the rain. So here you can see inside. So here will be where you have the bee that built. Then the colony live here. We have a little observation window behind that we can look and open. And then here we put this on top, and they will do the honey here. So we will take the honey only from the top. Like
how long can it take for them to feel?
It depends really like where the beehive is. Is there a lot of flower? Is there not a lot of flower? What season? So in fact, to know, you have to taste it for 1 year. So you put a beehive somewhere, and then only after 1 year you will know how much money. I cannot tell you in advance. Yeah. It really depends on the natural environment around us. But if it's a lot of flower, I would say you can go fast. Huh? You can go really fast. You can get like honey in 2 weeks to 3 weeks if it's like really flowering around the place. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing we can put at people's house, and then it becomes like a little like your environmental pet at home. And also bees are amazing. They can remember your face. You can tame them. They remember your smell. It's very it's incredible insect, like really.
They're a lot smarter than we think they are. And in fact, I keep hearing
than us, actually.
I keep hearing that animals in general, we're finding out how much smarter they are than we think they are. Even chickens, so they can count and things like that. So I'm not surprised that bees can recognize you and all that. It is amazing, but it's true.
Yeah, and also it's the only insect, I told you last time, I think, that they communicate to the other bees where there is source of food.
Okay. Yeah.
Like if you have a pack of wolves, okay, they will come they will follow the wolf that finds the food. But the bees, inside the beehive, they say to their friend, you go 2 kilometers over there, northwest, there is food. And even us as human, we can see it. Because when you take the frame, you see how the bee is going to move. So if she wiggle her butt, every second is 750 meters. So you count the second that she wiggle her butt. Then you know, okay, around 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometers, there is a field of flower. And then after she do circle like 8, you take where is the sun, you take 80 degrees. You have to, I have to show you on a drawing, and then you know. So it's funny because the bees will tell you where there is flower. And as human, we can see it from them.
So interesting.
It's amazing, yeah.
And I like that little move that you do.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a dance move.
Do you want me to do it again?
You do that? You taught the bees that?
Yeah, no, they taught me. They taught me, and now it's. But when I go and dance somewhere, it's something. So you can also learn that from the bees, which is
It's a bonus.
Yeah, it's a bonus. Like.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What about you?
What do you think? Hey, you know
Yeah.
what? This guy's got it, man.
This is like, whoa, I feel
hey.
like I'm
Wow.
Hi guys.
You're flying.
One thing, if COVID has taught us anything, is that we've been stuck at home and this and that all over the world. In a way, there has been a good side to it, and that is that you realize that we don't spend enough time with our family and things like that, and we don't spend enough time. Maybe I shouldn't say we, because I think we're a little bit different, but a lot of people don't spend enough time on their health, and that is one of the most important things. The health of you, the people around you, your mental health, all of these
Right.
things are so important, but because we're so busy living our lives outside of our home, running around, doing our work, this, that, it just gets left behind,
Yeah.
And so now we've been forced almost to have a chance to look at it and to think about it and to realize what we've been missing.
Yeah.
So have you guys come to any type of realization like that as well, about the health?
Yeah. It came to this realization, but also, as I said, is like as what Tia she was saying earlier. There is two big problems: the fear and the ego. Me, one of my biggest problem, I think it's my ego, and now I get older and older, and my ego is going down and down and down and down. The fact that I want to be in front now, I don't care anymore. It was more like something when I was young, and getting detached of this ego helped me a lot, and I feel much better. And Tia helped me a lot also on that. To now simplicity, just a simple life, like a little house, animals, family, friends, maybe only people that you love is less than 5, as you say, is inside your 5 finger in your hand, and is only what I want. And I'm not capable yet. I still want to have a nice watch, and I still want to go to a nice restaurant, and I still want to show off.
You
And
still have that urge
I
inside
still have this. I have to be honest. I still have this urge in self, and I feel it doesn't help me on anything. But it's still part of me, and you can realize a lot of things, but if it's within yourself, you need to work on it, and it's not just I change.
Yeah.
So me is really my point now is my purpose is simplicity, and with simple things that I don't need. I want to live with little things and not need so much. Yeah.
You start to appreciate the simple things.
Yeah, just appreciate it, but for real, and live that way. Live that way. But I'm not there yet, for my part.
It's not easy.
Takes time.
We've been programmed by society, by life, to want things,
Yeah.
material things.
Yes.
And we feel that they're going to give us some sort of a satisfaction, but that satisfaction is very short.
Exactly.
In the past, when I get a new car, I'm so excited. Oh man, I'm driving around in my new car. After a month or so, it's just your,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a short-lived happiness, and it's not a satisfaction. It's not that deep satisfaction. I think that only comes from spending the time with your family and doing the simple things and having good, atmosphere around you, like plants, nature, animals.
It's what we try. But then after the idea, and after you can say, to leave the city would be something to have outside, to live outside of the city. That's the next step, to not be in the city anymore.
One of the things that actually is the motto of the show is that we say that you're the hero of your own movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we say that most people are living a life that they're playing like an extra role in their own movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the hero's
They're in the
journey-
back, they're not
Yeah.
the main character.
That's true.
But they
Yeah.
are the main character. They just don't know yet. And everybody's just waiting for them to step into their true power. And I do believe that the hero's journey, and I think that that's why we decided to have this show, is to show how the hero's journey of other people like you guys that are very inspiring has come across to such a beautiful point that we feel like that inspiration that is necessary to share with others. Because we only learn through stories,
Yeah.
In fact, all the limiting beliefs that we have come from the stories that we saw our parents repeating and the environment that
Yeah.
we were raised.
Stories
Yeah.
that we tell ourselves.
But we are a definition of the outside, somehow. We are, and we have to detach also a bit ourselves of that, I think.
But I think, I think, well, for me, being with Adrian, and one of my things growing up is that my parents always taught me to be nice and to be humble to everybody. You know what I mean? Just because you are a manager or a boss, or just because you're paying someone, doesn't mean that you can treat them a certain way. And my mom always taught me, like, you, before you say or do something, always put yourself in that person's shoes and think and hear how that sounds to them if you were receiving end. And I think it's definitely an important mojo in my life, and that's how I've been raised. And I think that even, you know, we have a helper and we live in Vietnam, we're very privileged in a way that we can pay, you know, to get our food delivered or have someone to come clean our house. But I think it doesn't mean that we need to take advantage too much of that. And it doesn't hurt to do dishes sometimes, to do your own laundry, to fold your own laundry, you know, to help them out. But also it's for yourself and for your kids to learn that, you know, not all the time you can pay and you can afford, and, you know, you need to learn to even how to put the dishes together the right way, you know what I mean? Just to enjoy the everyday life that, like you said,
Simple things.
Exactly, that COVID has taught us. And I think, you know, for me and Adrian, we enjoy being home the most. Like, this is what we love.
Actually, we like to be home.
Yeah,
we don't really like to go out.
We don't really like to go out.
You're home, it feels so good. Yes, so the whole idea is you create the ecosystem that you want to be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what
We could stay here really like for 15 days, 3 weeks, don't go nowhere. We love it. We love it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, and I think, you know, a lot of people, they are stuck in this pretension of an image that they think they should be, and they're afraid to step away or to go over it, you know. And I think, like I said before, like, people are so afraid of themselves, I think, in a way, to admit to themselves where they are wrong and owe up to it and change. And I think this is where people are, maybe I use the word a bit less happy, you know, and they're always finding things. And in the society with commercial, you know, things, it helps us to forget about our problems sometimes, but it's still there. And I think to
Helps
be
to
happy,
distract us.
yeah, but it's still there, you know. It's like the problem's there. I'm just
covering
putting
it.
this vase here so I don't see it, but it's still there, you know. And sooner or later it'll be exposed. So I think for me and Adrian, you know, we have managed to sort of be our own criticism. We criticize each other and we criticize ourselves, you know. And I think we sit and we say, how do we improve? And you have to receive it with open arms instead of being defensive and, you know, and all of that. So I think it's to create that element of harmony in the home, you know. And that's why I think with COVID, we had a lot of people that maybe they break up or they get back together, not for the right reasons, because they're lonely, or they realize, actually, the partner I'm looking at, I don't actually like you as a person. And, you know, I think it's all comes
Funny
to
thing,
that.
that's during COVID, they said that a lot of people's relationships haven't worked out. Like,
Yeah.
they say this in the US. I mean, I think it's pretty much the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Not distractions anymore.
Yeah, and it's forced people into close quarters, and you're spending more time. And if you have some issues with each other, you're gonna see them more.
Face them.
But some people's relationships have become stronger.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing, that it really speeds up the progress of your relationship, whether it's going to work out or not. You know?
Yeah.
So it's in a way, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share something with you guys. So the first time I came to your house was one of the few times that I step into a home and I feel like I'm not in a home, I'm in a new world, in a reality, you know. And after I left, it touched me so much, the amount of integration you guys have with nature within this beautiful space. So actually I went ahead, I bought for each person in the house one, so they take responsibility of it and they develop a relationship with it. So I bought one for my mom, one for my girlfriend and me, and one for my cousin. And I can say that as soon as I put these plants, living organisms, into the house, things changed.
Yeah.
Things really changed. And it's the simple thing that means everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, and like I always say, like the little things that we're doing for the earth, you know, like you see in our house, we do have air cons, but there's one thing that I'm like the electric police, you know, like, because for me, I feel like we all like to be always, of course, comfortable, but we're not mindful of our usage, of our consumption when it comes to eating, shopping, you know what I mean? Like, so I only now shop secondhand. Like, I actually don't believe in spending too much money on the outside, you know. And with electricity, like, I'm always turning off air cons and reminding Adrian, like, we don't really need air con. Or if you go downstairs, you know when you're gonna come back up, turn off the lights, you know, just use the fan, you know. And even with water usage, you don't need to turn it on all the time, you know what I mean? And I think it's like little things like that that helps first of all helps with your bills, but also helps with the earth, with the energy consumption that we do. And every little bit like this, I think if everyone can have that mindfulness of, consumption, because you don't need to eat, like so much, in fact, to survive. You can have a cheat day, but you can eat less, consume less, and you help do a little bit everything.
But what I like what you said is the fact, in fact, you came here, and I remember at the end we just have this little talk with a plant behind, and I think what is really what is beautiful here is that you come back home, and because you saw this place and the plant, it makes you want to have flower in your house, and that's the most important, so that you can convey something. Yeah. I influence you. Yes, I mean, the fact that you come here and okay, but that's great.
And in fact, that I bought the plants in your restaurant is even a better influence. Because I think that the word that encapsulates what we're talking about is called responsibility. It's about, we all have a message and we all have an opinion in how the world should be. But how many of us are we actually demonstrating in our daily lives,
practicing it,
and in our lifestyle, that message that we want to contribute? You didn't tell me, hey, you should have plants in your house. And many people told me that before. And I was like, I don't think so. You only demonstrated
by example.
And when I came here and I experienced it, and it resonated so deep, and I said, this is where it's at. This is now kind of the harmony.
And you have to take care of it.
Yes.
That's it's not just to have it. To take care of it, that's the most important. To keep it alive and to keep it prosper.
That's why plants, animals, especially pets, because you can see when you're not taking care of him that he's going to get affected. It really gives you a sense of responsibility, and it also really they give so much back.
Yeah.
Unconditional love. So it's something amazing, that relationship you can have with these guys.
Yeah.
We've lost touch with nature so much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
But for us, like one of the favorite things to do is, like, if the weather allows, we love to drive up to Dalat and just take our dogs and be living, like, there's this place that we love in Dalat that we're literally around the lake inside the pine trees. So you wake up and you're on top of the pine trees, and you go to sleep and you just leave all the windows open, and the dogs can run, and you just take a deep breath, and this is what happiness is, and in fact, and then as soon as we approach the city, we feel like there's this kind of
different energy.
Yeah, it's like two separate worlds, like you said, it's like two complete different worlds, like the world where you're supposed to survive, which is the city, and then the world where you're really comfortable, which is, the elements of nature. But I think it takes time. Like, not everyone is there yet, and maybe it's not for everybody.
And not everybody also can do it. There is some people that want to do it, but they cannot. So we have to think about that as well.
Be on themselves as well. And I think with the nature, the sound of nature is not the most comfortable for everybody. Yeah.
100%.
So guys, we could talk to you forever. You guys are very interesting, and this has been a lot of fun, but we've got limited time. So thank you so much, Tia.
Thank you very much to you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are a source of inspiration.
Yeah,
you embody a message that I believe is important, and that's the reason why you're here with us today.
Thank
we
you.
think that somebody out there is going to resonate, and maybe they're going to start doing the simple things, like
buying plants,
a plant for their home, and connecting with nature in the simple way they can.
And no need to wash yourself with hot water. You can use a bit colder.
Cold water is better for you.
Better for your skin anyway.
For your health. So
Exactly.
Yes, the simple things. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Take care. See you next time.